In part 1, you did the hard part right. You shrank the blast radius, least privilege, so the agent holds only the keys it needs. Trusted and untrusted content kept apart, so what it reads can never give it orders. And a human gate on the actions you'd actually regret. That's most of the danger handled by design. But here's the part that should keep you honest. You can't design away every attack. Some of them reach the agent while it's running, live, mid-task. And even the best defended agent on Earth has one hole that nobody, not even the team that built it, will close. This is the Atlas from AI Techbook. Episode 9, Part 2. Real-time defenses and the truth nobody admits. If you missed Part 1, here's the whole frame in 30 seconds. The moment an agent can take actions, a sentence of text it reads can hijack what it does. That's prompt injection, the #1 risk for LLM apps. The damage scales with how much the agent is allowed to do. We called that the blast radius. Part 1 shrank it 3 ways, at design time. Least privilege, give the agent the smallest set of capabilities that still does the job. Trusted from untrusted, treat everything it reads as data to inspect, never instructions to obey. And a human gate on the high-impact actions. Those 3 shrink the blast radius before anything runs. These next 2 assume an attack still gets through. Defense 4 is the one most people reach for first, because it feels like security actively scanning content for the attack. Input and output guardrails. A classifier sits in front of the model, reads what's coming in, and flags anything that looks like an injection before it lands. It's real. It's effective. And Anthropic ships exactly this. But it carries a warning you have to internalize, or it'll lull you to sleep. Here's what Anthropic actually does, and it's a good model to copy. Its browser agent scans all untrusted content, entering the context window and flags injections with classifiers, plus a continuous internal red team trying to break its own defenses. On top of that, the developer guidance is to run a light, fast model Haiku as a harmlessness screen, validate inputs against known jailbreak patterns, and chain these checks and layers. Now the warning. Classifiers are effective. They are not sufficient. They catch the attacks that look like the attacks they were trained on, and a determined attacker's entire job is to craft one that doesn't. This isn't hypothetical. EchoLeak, the zero-click exfiltration we opened on, beat Microsoft's classifier, its link redaction, and its content security policy, its CSP. 3 layers of filtering, and a cleverly crafted email walk through all of them. A classifier raises the cost of an attack. It never sets that cost to infinity. So if you're a developer, use classifiers. A Haiku class screen is cheap, and it genuinely thins the stream. Just never let one be the last line. A guardrail catches the attacks you anticipated. It does nothing for the one designed specifically to slip past it. Defense 5 is built on a humbling assumption: eventually, something gets through. A classifier misses, a gate is too coarse, a new attack lands. So the last layer doesn't try to prevent the breach. It contains it. Sandboxing and isolation run the agent inside a box, so even a fully compromised agent can only damage what's inside the box. Claude Code ships this directly. Its Sandbox bash mode runs commands inside an environment with both file system and network isolation. So a command and injection managed to trigger executes against the sandbox, not your real machine. Anthropic's own security guidance is blunt about why. For untrusted content, use virtual machines or dev containers. A V. M. Don't pipe untrusted input straight to the model on a machine that matters. Pair the box with the loop you built last episode. Containment tells you the damage is bounded. Monitoring tells you it happened. A sandboxed agent suddenly reaching for the network, a spike in tool errors, a refusal rate climbing. Those are the signatures of an attack in progress. Visible because you instrumented the run. Be honest about what this layer is. A sandbox does not stop the injection. The agent still got fooled. The bad action still fired. What the sandbox does is make that success worthless. It executed in a box with nothing valuable in it and no way out. It's the seatbelt, not the brakes. It won't prevent the crash. It changes what the crash costs. If you're an architect, the rule is plain: never run an agent on untrusted content directly against something you can't afford to lose. Put a box around it and wire the run into your monitoring so a contained breach still raises an alarm. 5 defenses now: limit, isolate, gate, scan, contain. So what does Claude actually bring to this fight? Real, named things, not vibes. And the reason to state them precisely is that the next scene takes them apart honestly, and you can't do that without first knowing exactly what's true. Start with the model. Anthropic uses reinforcement learning, RL, to build injection resistance directly into Claude. It's exposed to injection attempts inside simulated web content during training and rewarded for refusing them. The robustness is baked in, not bolted on. Around the model sits the classifier layer you just saw, all untrusted content entering the context window scanned and flagged, with an internal red team continuously trying to break it. And Claude Code wraps the whole thing in the permission, sandbox, and trust verification stack, including verifying trust before connecting to a new MCP server. Now the numbers, and exactly how to hold them. With its safety systems on, Anthropic reports Claude prevented 94% of attacks arriving over MCP. In computer use testing, it blocked 88% of attacks with safety systems versus 74% without the systems doing real measurable work. But say the quiet part out loud, those are figures from the Claude generation Anthropic tested at that time. They are not the current flagship's numbers, and we are deliberately not pinning a version on screen. Treat them as evidence the defenses work, not as a current scorecard. Notice the shape of an honest defense story. It's not one magic feature, it's the same layered stack we built this whole episode, just implemented by the vendor. No single layer is the answer, and Anthropic doesn't claim one is. The defense is the depth. Here is the most important thing in this episode, and almost no tutorial will tell you. With every defense we've named in place, the train model, the classifiers, the permissions, the sandbox, the problem is still not solved. And the proof isn't a competitor's failure. It's that the team that wrote the best version of this playbook says so in writing about their own product. Take Anthropic at its own word. About Claude for Chrome, the company states plainly, no browser agent is immune to prompt injection. It reports roughly a 1% attack success rate against its own adaptive attacker and explicitly calls that 1% still meaningful risk. Their own best defenses, measured by their own red team, leave a 1 in 100 hole they refuse to round down to 0. OWASP says the same at the level of the whole problem class. Mitigations reduce impact and likelihood, they do not eliminate it. Prompt injection is not fully solvable, and then the confession that makes it undeniable. Anthropic shipped its own vulnerable software. Its MCP server Git, a Claude-built MCP server, carried 3 CVEs, chained and injection exploitable, out of the box, just by influencing what the agent reads. Remember episode 3B, where we said the model context protocol has racked up CVEs and security is the thing nobody ships. Here's the receipt from Anthropic itself, and the same company tells you flatly, it does not security audit the third-party MCP servers you connect. That trust decision is entirely yours. Sit with what that means, because it's liberating, not depressing. The best resource safety team on Earth treats prompt injection as unsolved. So the correct posture isn't prevention. It's defense in depth, stack least privilege, isolation, human gates, classifiers, and a sandbox precisely because no single one holds, and then actively manage the residual risk. You're not eliminating the threat. You're making the inevitable breach survivable, which lands the whole thesis from the cold open. You don't get to build the safe agent, or the perfectly locked one. You build the survivable one. The goal was never a safe agent or a locked one. It's the smallest blast radius that still does the job. 1 threat, 5 defenses ranked by how much they actually help. Here's the whole playbook in the order you'd apply it. 1. Least privilege. The master move, because it attacks the blast radius directly, give the agent the smallest set of capabilities that still does the job, and a successful hack buys the attacker almost nothing. 2. Separate trusted from untrusted. Treat every byte of external content and every tool result as data to be inspected, never instructions to be obeyed. Indirect injection is a trust boundary failure, so build the boundary. 3. Keep a human in the loop, but place the gates with care. Approve the actions you genuinely regret, and let everything reversible flow through, or you rebuild the useless agent from our cold open. 4. Classifier scan and flag the obvious attacks. Use them, they thin the stream. But never alone, because Echo Leak proved a crafted attack walk straight through. 5. Sandbox and monitor. You can't prevent every breach, so contain it in a box with nothing to steal, and instrument the run so a contained breach still raises an alarm. Tie them together and you don't get a safe agent. You get a survivable one. No single layer holds. That's not pessimism. It's the posture the best security team in the world publicly takes. Defense in depth, with the residual risk managed, not wished away. That's how you secure an agent without making it useless. The smallest blast radius that still does the job. That's agent security and prompt injection, the smallest blast radius that still does the job. You can't make an agent unhackable, so you make a hack survivable, limit what it can do, isolate what it reads, gate the actions that matter, scan, and contain the rest. Across 9 episodes, you've gone from a single agent to a system you can build, prove, and now secure. Share this with one person who's shipping an agent with real permissions. And subscribe to AI Tech Book. Next, we let the agent off the leash and ask what it takes to run it autonomously.